Hey guys, Hassan here from Galaxy Invest. Just a reminder, this is not financial advice, so please do your own research. So today I wanted to go over CRISPR's update. Today there was a video from one of the YouTubers, Dave Lee. I really respect Dave Lee's content. I actually had a great conversation with him in Twitter and just in DMs. I just started poking him and said, "Hey, look into CRISPR. Look at those companies in this gene editing era. I think you'll find some opportunities." And he started poking me some questions and. But he posted a video today, an interview with Brett Winton, which is basically, I think he's the director of ARK Invest. And I guess that's what I wanted to do today. I just wanted to go over the video itself and maybe like ARK Invest Big Ideas 2021, just to add on to what Brett mentioned in the video, and maybe just sum up the video for today like that. So just full disclosure, I actually bought more CRISPR today, because my conviction is very, very strong on this company, right? And you could see it, like year to date, this company's been hammered, like many other companies, right? The whole market is down, but specifically like CRISPR and Telia and so on in this space, they've been hammered. I think they've been well over like 50% down from their height earlier in January. But again, if you scale it, step back for like a second and just look at the past year, you see the gains has been, that the company is like, you know, well over double, right? So, this is a long-term thing, right? This is what I was repeating in previous videos, is that this company, if you're trying to look into investing in this type of company, it's very R&D focused. It's going to take some time, right? So you're gonna have to be here for the long term, and when the market is down, unfortunately, these are the types of company that will be hit very, very hard. So that's one thing. So I wanted to go ahead and play this video, and this is where Brett here is answering Dave Lee's question, and Dave Lee's basically asking him about like what's ARC's bets on the genomic space, right? So let's just play this and let's just see what we can extract from this brief conversation. And I'll link the video in the description for anyone that wants to watch the whole interview.
Just hugely, and you're spreading out your bets because, I mean, is part of the spreading out the bets, I guess my question is it because there isn't that clear winner in the early stages, but there will be a clear winner eventually, so you want to be invested in that area, or is there some other kind of strategy or approach behind that?
Yeah, so just at a high level, our belief is that like the ability to directly manipulate the genome is a new technology capability unlocked that will yield all kinds of benefits over time. You'll take rare diseases. 1 in 100 babies is born with a monogenic disease, and the cost of treating these rare diseases, and you're basically just managing symptoms, can be $100,000 a year. So if you can deliver a cure, if you basically can use gene editing to change that kind of monogenic mutation and cure the disease rather than manage symptoms, the value of that cure, leaving aside the way in which you improve that person's life, but the value of that cure should be more than $1 million, because you're avoiding a lifetime's worth of symptom management, which is very expensive.
So I'll just pause it here. I think you guys, I don't know if you guys caught that, but he's basically referencing the last video I posted. I talked about like what is the value of life, right? And he just basically said, if you're going to value this, what is, saving one's life, like he put well over $1 million, which is crazy, right? And when you think about it in those terms, then you start, crunching the numbers, and you see that a company like CRISPR being like 8 billion market cap, when you have Uber, which is a great company, but they're worth 100 billion market cap, but they're not saving people's lives. There's no cure to anything. If anything, they're just basically a software that's, acting as a taxi, right? So these are the type of questions I think any investors have to answer, and let's just keep playing this video here.
And so it's clear to us that kind of gene editing and CRISPR, which is style of gene editing, which is inexpensive, it allows rapid experimentation, and it was just really discovered over the last business cycle, will be a tool that can potentially address that 1 in 100 babies, all those monogenic diseases. Then on top of that, you have, almost all diseases are actually genetic diseases in some way, right? And so you have polygenic diseases where it's like more than one mutation that is causing kind of this disorder that your body's experiencing. And so kind of it's likely that gene editing will also play a role in developing new treatments against those polygenic diseases. And so kind of the set of addressable diseases and the economic value of those addressable diseases, just on the monogenic side, we think it's something like a $70 billion annual market, but there's huge latent demand because there's a population that has, sickle cell anemia and beta thal and all these other things that would also, love to not have to do 18 blood transfusions a year because of the disease they have, right? And so if you total up all of the latent demand for these cures, if they were to come out, it's more than $1 trillion.
So just pause really quickly here. This is what we were talking about last video. Is he's basically just reiterating the fact that those blood transfusion, eliminating those, basically curing the disease. The value is just enormous. He's pulling numbers like 1 trillion. He's pulling like annual 70 billion. Like these are big numbers, right? You gotta wrap your head around that. And again, it boils down to all these diseases we have. And with gene editing, it could potentially cure many, if not all, diseases, right? So I truly believe there'll be many winners, and I think that's what he sort of reiterated as well. And I think there will be many winners in this space. It's just hard for a typical investor to look at this space. Usually, you're looking at the electrical vehicle market, and then you're like Tesla, right? Or you're looking at the consumer electronics, like basically, smartphones, and you're looking at Apple, right? But in this space, I think it's so broad, and there's so much, so many diseases out there, right? And the population is so broad. There's many opportunities, and it's just technically impossible for a company to tackle all of them, considering all the regulations that you have to go through, right? Refer to the FDA approval that we talked about previously in the previous video. So let's just see what the video, what Brett here says in the rest of this clip here.
There's also, with it, because you have combination of gene editing, gene sequencing, and advanced machine learning techniques, including like neural networks, that are improving your ability to move any drug through the clinical pipeline. So like an early stage asset that you haven't even deployed into humans yet. Well, like to create a mouse that exactly matches the disorder that you're trying to test that asset against used to be a multi-month process, and you couldn't actually create the custom mouse. But with gene editing, you can create a much better match for the specific hamster you're trying to test against. You can do it in weeks. And so your odds of actually identifying the drug that will work are higher. And that applies all along the kind of clinical trial pipeline process. And so our belief is that every clinical trial pipeline is going to be, at least is trying to deploy these technologies aggressively, is going to get more efficient, and that you won't have as many failures at each stage in the process, and that effect compounds. So actually earlier stage assets are more valuable on a relative basis than late stage assets than they used to be. And so from a deployment of capital perspective, you can apply that lens across the entire clinical pipeline landscape and be like, oh, I'm buying basically this R&D at an undervalued basis because the return on that R&D is going to be higher than people understand. And because of the way kind of the biotech and pharma market works out, there's a lot of people going after a lot of these different diseases. And it's really hard to call beforehand, oh, this one's going to work and this one's not going to work. And in fact, it's really, you just have to treat it as a game of probability, where it's, I think this is the odds that this is going to work and this is the odds that this is going to work. And so with that as the context, having like a broader set of exposures is a better portfolio move, rather than being like, I'm going to put all of my eggs in this one basket, where then I subject myself more completely to that idiosyncratic single risk.
Yeah, so basically, I think after that, they just talk about like, I think Dave Lee asks a question like, will Tesla ever get into the genomic space, which obviously isn't what I want to address in this video. So you see how Brett here, he's basically stating, hey, there's going to be many winners, and it doesn't make sense to just pick one particular company. You want to sort of, spread your probabilities, and you want to make sure that you pick at least some winners out of all this genomics revolution, right? And there's one additional thing here I think we should mention, is that the genomic space is wide by itself, right? Even in the gene editing is just one field of it. Yes, it's a big topic. Yes, this is what CRISPR therapeutics is about. But genomics itself, just keep in mind, it's very, very it's a wide array of topics here. Like for example, what I'm showing here is the ARK Invest Big Ideas 2021. You can download this online from ARK Invest website. But there's a slide particularly about cell and gene therapy, and this is what they go on. They go on to explain. This is towards the end of their presentation. Is they talk about the ex vivo to in vivo approaches in gene editing, and they're talking about how each of these applications could be useful for a particular disease. For example, in vivo could be more specific to liver, eye, central nervous system, and muscles, while ex vivo could be more applicable for other applications. But what is important, what I wanted to bring up here, is that even in previous slides here, they're still talking about genomics, but they're talking about like multi-cancer screening, right? So there's many opportunities in the genomics space, and this is probably why, and this is actually the reason why ARK Invest G is invested in many of these companies. CRISPR Therapeutics is one of them, but there's many other companies that are tackling other issues in the genomics field. So that's definitely one thing I wanted to show. And the last thing I'll say is, you can see here, and this is what Brett mentioned in the interview to Dave, is that they talk about reducing the cost, right? Currently, the way gene therapies are done, very expensive, very, very, like the cost it's so cost uh, inefficient that you have a system where many diseases are left untreated, and there's many, many people that are born every single year with these types of diseases that could be treated if you had a technology that can reduce those costs. And gene editing, specifically Cas9 CRISPR, what CRISPR Therapeutics, the company, is doing, and many others, right? Intellia, Beam, you have Editas as well. These companies are really tackling this problem, right? Where you have a problem where a legacy system, right? This is how I see things, right? You have a legacy system, in this case, gene therapy, legacy gene therapy, where it's very costly. It's not curing the masses, right? Yeah, you might cure a few, you might cure a dozen, you might cure 100, but are you going to cure thousands and thousands every single year at a accepted cost, right? And this is where Brett, in the video, what I was mentioning, is this is where he talks about what is the value that we could provide to people if we were to treat their diseases at a very, very cost efficient. Are we looking at 1 million? Are we looking like $1 trillion market? Like this is what I think, what a lot of investors are really, really excited for. Just the scalability of this technology, right? It can really reach the masses. So I really do believe this was a really great interview from Dave Lee and Brett from ARK Invest, and I think this was really It just goes back to, we're living in this era of technology, right? Genomics is just one of these big ideas that ARK Invest, for example, are doubling down on, right? But I truly believe that specifically gene editing is going through a phase where many investors are starting to see the potential, uh, the potential that this technology can lead us forward, right? You can see the total addressable market just being so vast, and I think there'll be many winners just by going back to what we said. There's so many diseases and there's so many regulations and processes that there's no way that one single company can just go through all of them, right? There will be many winners. It just, as long as the results are positive, the clinical trials, going back to our previous videos, right? As CRISPR Therapeutics, for example, as they post positive results, Antilia too, they're going through clinical trials. If they keep posting positive results, and I know there's this YouTuber, CRISPR Talk, he posted a video about how Antilia is now doing base editing. So I'll do that a video hopefully on Antilia, the company, and perhaps their entry today in base editing, which is what Beam Technology, the company, is doing. So so we'll leave it off like this for today. I just wanted to go really briefly over that interview and just go a little bit about the genomic space and just making sure that we're all on the same page, stating that specifically gene editing is what many of us are bullish on. So, and today the market was down, and like I said, I doubled my conviction has just grew further due to everything I've been reading, everything I've been following, and I think things are just going to get brighter. I think this is a long-term game. I think if we're looking years down the road, I truly believe this company, CRISPR Therapeutics, we're looking at other companies as well, Antilia, even Beam, even I do believe Editas, even though their leadership has been unstable, I truly believe they'll be winners as well. Again, as long as they go through their trials, as long as the results are positive, and as long as there's more investors, I think this field will grow. So thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video. Thank you very much.